Hello everybody, this is my first video for Full Tilt Vintage. um, I sell vintage jewelry, accessories on my eBay store. This is my first video. I'm kind of nervous. I've never done this before. I've made shorts for my video and I don't seem to be gaining any type of audience doing that. So I figured I'd make a long form video today and just show you a few things that I will upload to my eBay store. And the first one I'm going to show you is called a shooting star bracelet from Pandora. That's what it looks like. And as this video goes along, I'm just going to be kind of flashing things to you. Some of these items, I don't know the true history of them. I don't know. I know brand names and things like that, but I don't know exactly the history behind the jewelry, especially items that aren't marked with a designer or anything like that. But this is Pandora, and this one is called Shooting Star. So I'll be taking pictures as I go along, and just basically how I set things up. And if you have any questions or any comments or suggestions that I could do to make these videos better, I'm just trying to get my store out there and make it a little bit more successful. So this video will probably be highly edited, just because I stutter. I don't speak clearly enough. I feel like I don't. So I'll be using props to set up the bracelet, just to make the photos a little bit more professional. I like to do that. Sometimes I use a white background. I've been changing backgrounds a little bit just to see what they would look like, and if certain backgrounds make the product a little bit more successful. I'll do close-ups of the pieces. I'll zoom in just to get details so you can know every aspect of the piece of jewelry. I also post measurements, but sometimes I have different measurements depending on the tools that I use. And if anybody out there that also does this for a living, any suggestions, if there's a difference between using the cone I don't know where mine is at right now. I can't find it. I don't see it on my desk. I also like to take photos of the clasps open, just to show the buyer that that's the way the mechanism works. And I like to put full descriptions. Sometimes I use the AI description, and sometimes it's pretty accurate. It wasn't at first, now it seems to be, but I always double check to see if there's inaccuracies or just stuff that's not true, because I've seen that too. The description will just say things that's not what that is. All right, I think this one should be done, and everything after I post this video, everything should be online, hopefully. If not, just it'll eventually be. Here are some Native American sterling silver. I think that's opal. If you could see the way it shimmers. See that? I don't know. Maybe the light's not catching it right, but yes. I'm sorry, these aren't Native American. Well, depends on how you look at it. These are Mexican made, which is native to the Americas. It's not a lie. And I'm not going to post it as Native American. It will be listed as Mexican silver. But these are very nice. And they're actually 950 silver, so a little bit more silver than your average sterling, which is 925. And sterling varies around the world. In Europe, it's 800, 830, different numbers like that. Here, it's more often 925, 925, 0.925. But yeah, that's Mexican. Let me set these up. But living where I live, I do find plenty of Native American pieces. So I do always have those types of pieces of jewelry, Native American, especially Zuni, Navajo, things of that type from the southwestern tribes, the southwestern part of the United States. So it's very common, and I'm very lucky to be able to locate and source those types of things because of the location that I'm at. And Full Tilt Vintage is actually located on historic Route 66 here in Albuquerque. We don't have a storefront, but the studio's here on Route 66. I have a question for other resellers. What is prominent in your area that other resellers can't seem to source in their locations? Like I'm able to source Native American items, jewelry, like consistently on a consistent basis because of where I'm located, and that's in New Mexico. I imagine other sellers that are located where other tribes are. Let's say in Florida, I'm sure there's like Seminole jewelry. Those like tribes that are located out there, or even in the Pacific Northwest, I'm sure they get those types, because I don't see those down here. I don't see that type of art, the one that's really associated with the Pacific Northwest tribes. I don't see that very often. I also get to source in Santa Fe, which is a plus. You know, it's a blessing to be able to get that. You know, in my location, to have that there. I don't go up to Santa Fe too often, but when I do, I'm pretty lucky. And this is just preservation of art to me. Like I do not sell this for scrapping purposes, anything like that. I just don't. I feel like there's art within the jewelry, and I feel like it needs to be preserved, especially Native American art, and some designers, all of the designers that are from the 50s and 60s, you know, mid-century. Those are fantastic pieces of work as far as jewelry goes. It's artistic, it's different, and they just don't make it like that anymore, you know? Next up is a pair of sterling silver angel earrings. Check that out. Very nice. If you're of the Christian faith or very Christmas-like, these are perfect. Or if you just like angels, angels are cool. Gosh, I can't get this in. That's what she said. All right. Well, that sounded weird. If a girl said that, I'll probably cut that. And a key to get good photographs is having good lighting. Just lighting in all directions, like I have. It's ridiculous in here. So these will be up on the store later today. Or they should be up after I post this video. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this, so there's going to be editing in it. And just, so if it hops around a little bit. It's my first time. Oh my gosh. All right. I also sell a lot of eyewear, and I will probably be making a video posting nothing but eyewear. I dwell mostly in vintage eyewear, frames that you can't get anymore, things like that. Hard to find frames from designers from the 60s. Even just the fact that they're made in the 60s, they're high quality. They're made of acetate. And so you get these no-name sunglasses that someone probably bought at a gas station in 1969, but the quality is there, and that's why these frames are sought after. You'd never think, but they are. Here's something. Here's a sterling silver wings, military. I'm not quite sure what branch, if it's Navy or Air Force. I'm not sure. wherever they fly airplanes. This is old. I'll have to do some research on it, and just to get the details correct, the specifications, the size, everything. So I'll look that up before I post it, but I'll take pictures of it before I, before I do some research. I buy these things at thrift stores, garage sales, wherever. And just preserving this is kind of cool. Like collectors, I have no need for this. That's why I'm selling it. But if I was an enthusiast, this would be something that I would like to put in my collection. And this is why we have customers that buy these types of things, is because it's a market that's out there. People collect World War II paraphernalia, Vietnam, any of those things that they hold on to dearly, and we all should. These are historic pieces of art, of things that were in our past that we should never forget, and we should always preserve these types of things. I would never melt this down, and I hope the person that buys this does not either, because that would be stupid. But yeah, this is cool. And I like to take as many pictures as possible. I don't like to overload it with too many of the same kind of repetitive type of things. I like to get different angles and make sure that the piece is represented properly. And I'm wondering, people that also resell, what is your biggest score? I found pieces of gold, and of course gold is going to be, worth a lot of money regardless. I personally don't pay more than $10 an item when I'm outsourcing. It's, that's the way I feel. The people that do pay high prices at auctions and estate sales is because they really want that, and they deserve it. If they're going to pay, $200 for something like this, at an estate sale, they're going to pay $200 for something like this. It's because they want it, and they are definitely going to preserve it. I'm just trying to get the things that people miss and just didn't see. I'm not trying to, I don't know how to say it. Like, I just like to find things that were going to be possibly thrown in the garbage. Like, I have found, like this. This was in a costume jewelry pile, and it's sterling silver. Look at this. It's cool. It's cool. The other things I come across are vintage bracelets from the 50s. These types of bracelets were very popular in the 50s and 60s. They're still popular today. These are sterling silver charms. This seems to be a European piece because of the sterling being 800. You see these, and just the pieces themselves. You see European landmarks. The Colosseum. You have, the crown. This looks like a little cabin or something. Heidelberg. Where's Heidelberg? And this looks like a little Dutch windmill. So this is obviously European. Oh, here we go. We've got a little British guard. This is sterling silver too. He's enameled, so he's a little colorful. But yeah, here we go. So this probably, I'm assuming this came from somebody that either went on vacation to Europe and just picked up little charms along the way. Um, that's what I'm assuming. That would be the most fun part of it, at least. And this has, let's see. It's quite a bit of charms. 10 charms. Please tell me if this video is lame, and I'll just not do it anymore. Or I'll just improve. Whatever. And the prices of these types of bracelets, I feel very they vary very much online. Something like this, I see, depending on how many charms are on there, I've seen these go in excess of $500. I've never sold anything that high. It'd be cool to find a gold one, which these do come in. They do come in gold, but I've never found it. But like I was saying, what is your biggest score as a somebody that is a reseller, or just going to thrift stores? Like, what's something that you have found that you just found that was incredible? You know? Something that you found to be very valuable. I know there's sentimental value in things like old toys. Like, I've seen old toys that I used to have and I wish I still had them. But something that's valuable. And I have found some so-called grails in my career, which I've done this, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I've done this for about 10 years professional, for about a decade. And sometimes you come across things that are incredibly valuable. And there are things that I've missed that I had no idea what they were until I went home and either by accident saw it online for sale and it being worth a lot of money. I went to a thrift store and I found a pair of ridiculous looking sunglasses. I thought they were the ugliest things. They look like douchebag sunglasses. And put them back. I laughed at them. Actually showed my wife and I said, look at these. And we laughed and I put them back. Maybe about a month later, I come to find out, because I do remember the name on the pair of glasses. And they seemed to be legit. And they were chrome hearts. I was pretty, I can't say upset, but I could say that I was like, gosh, that's a lesson learned, you know, a mistake. Just over time, I've learned name brands, things that I am not hip to anymore. You know, like chrome hearts. I had no idea that that was a thing. So yeah, I missed out on that. Here's another bracelet. This one seems to be uh, a family type bracelet. It has dates on it. Um, 20th anniversary. It looks like somebody was born in, I would say, 2017. I don't know who these people were, but there are things that indicate that this was like a grandmother, and these are her grandkids or children too, because they're various. There's 1990 all the way to 2001. So I'm assuming this is kids and grandkids. And what this is, it's a very popular brand um, called Elko. And they're sought after bracelets, especially this, which is a certain type of link. I can't remember what it's called, but there you go. It has very nice sterling silver charms. Uh, Something like this, I would hope they wouldn't melt down, but I don't see. This would go to a specific collector that collects these types of things, you know, or they just want a lot of silver on their wrist and not care that these are dedicated to other people. But there are collectors out there, and I can see why. Look at that. Look at the button, the clasp has a little heart, and there's a safety chain so you don't lose it in case it were to pop off, which I doubt because this clips on pretty good. But yeah, that's that. And I don't know how many charms are on this thing. There's a lot. Let's see. There's 10. But this one is adorned with some jewels. This has like a garnet and some kind of blue, maybe topaz. That I'm not positive of what that is. And I don't have the resource unless I look it up and find exactly what it is by a comparable piece that looks exactly like this. And I will make sure it is the exact piece by name brand and just by design, and hopefully find enough information to find out when it was actually manufactured. Because some of these things look like this one and this one look a little bit older. Yeah, see, this one says 1954. So I'm imagining that's their kid, and then the one that's from the 90s is maybe their grandkid, and the rest are great grandkids. So this is probably a grandmother's bracelet. Somebody that was a great grandmother, even. Who knows? It'd be nice to know the backstory to a lot of these pieces. That way you could, like, maybe pass on that information to the next buyer and they know the history of it. This is an Elko bracelet. I'm trying to use royalty-free music in the background so I don't get uh, knocked off. Like I said, this is my first video, so I don't know. I just picked some royalty-free background music. Nothing with words, anything like that. Alright, the next item I have is a silpada necklace. See that right there? That little triangle? That's the silpada logo. There you go. It's an unusual ball bead bracelet. Necklace. Has a different type of link. And it's 18 and a half inches long. As I was saying, I forgot that we were talking about your biggest score. If you could leave in the comments what's the biggest score you ever found, most valuable thing, for the price even, because I understand people will spend $100 on something that's maybe worth $300, But like my personal score is, I found a pair of sunglasses. A pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. They were aviator type. They were a specific type. They were called Deep Freeze, and they were a genuine pair, because I know. Next piece I have is a Taxco sterling silver spinner with twisted braids to spin. It's sterling silver. It's Mexican made. It's very nice. That last part may have been cut off where I was talking about the sunglasses. They like I said, I sold them for $16.50. I totally regret it. I wish it never happened, but it's just one of those things where you find a grail piece that somebody, like, I really don't know if anyone else has done the same thing. And if they have, do they even know it? Do they know that they have a piece of incredible history? Like, those deep freeze Ray-Bans were actually made specifically for a Navy mission down in Antarctica. So I think the history behind them makes them sought after, and the fact that they didn't make anything else. They made a limited amount, and it was only for the people, the men that were on that mission. which is kind of cool. So they're rare in that way. I'm not sure if they're the most expensive Ray-Bans out there, but they're up there, I would say. And this ring is a size, let's see, this is a size 8. So I will snap a picture of indicating the size. That way the buyer knows that it's also written. It shall be written. So therefore it shall be posted. So this is a size 8. Pretty nice. All right, the next piece up is a pair of moon stars earrings. So you can see the little moon right there with the moon face and the star. 6 stars there. 925. Let's see. If you could just maybe subscribe so I can go live. That's what I really would like to do, is go live with this as I'm posting, as I'm taking the pictures. I would like to be live. That way I can communicate with you guys as I'm doing it and maybe take suggestions or some advice from you. Because I know this channel sucks. I just want to make it better. I do mostly sell online, but there have been occasions where I've sold in person. Or I do have clients that have me specifically keep a lookout for certain things. Like turquoise. Certain pieces of turquoise. If they're in a necklace, which is kind of sought after. People like necklaces in turquoise, especially Native American, because it's beautiful. So that's that for the moon-themed earrings. Next up, speaking of Native American, here are some Native American earrings. Most likely Navajo. I will do a little bit more research on it. But just the way the art looks, the earrings themselves, they look to be of the Navajo style. Could be different. But we have little blossoms on that. See that? Check it out. There you go. They're little, but they're very beautiful. They're very delicate looking. So let's see. about 8 millimeters wide. I'll double check on that. But they're sterling silver. Let's see. I think I may need to change the TV channel because there's some copywritten music. Can't use that. Not gonna do it. Alright. Here's some hopefully royalty-free music. Now let me ask you this. This is for people that like to go thrifting or estate sales, even resellers. How often do you find silver? Does it depend on the location or the thrift store itself? Because I personally find it every time I go. Every time I go. As a matter of fact, the shooting star bracelet, this thing right here, I found this yesterday. I mean, I find it every time I go, and I go 3-4 times a week to these places, and I think I'm just lucky. But I also think it takes some time to acquire the skill to see sterling silver on sight. You know? I feel like that's... You just kind of tell... You can kind of tell what it looks like tarnished, what it looks like non-tarnished, what it looks like when it has rhodium plated. Like, you just get this sense. And a lot of times... I think that's why the majority of the things that I do find are in costume jewelry piles, or hanging in the costume jewelry section. All of this is, and I'm just glad I'm there to rescue it. You know, because a lot of times I feel like they're gonna throw this stuff away. Like, it's like on the last of the last as far as sales go. You know, sometimes they're 50 cents because they're in a bin where nobody else is buying because it's been sitting there. I do like to find that. And that's where the majority of these items do come from, is from the bargain bin. You know, and I feel like I rescue genuine pieces of art, and some of these pieces of art you can never get back because the artist is long gone. You know, it's cool when you find these things. I don't think that's turquoise. That's some kind of looks like a blue jasper. I'll have to look it up, but it's very nice. What we have here is a black and silver beaded onyx cuff bracelet. This is old too. This seems to be something that was made in maybe, I would say, the 50s. Just the style. But it's black onyx. It's nice. There was a much darker patina on this. But I'm always on the fence about polishing things or leaving the original patina on there, because some pieces just look filthy. They just look dirty. They have like dust within crevices. And so you got to clean it up a little bit because you don't want somebody's DNA or hair follicle inside your bracelet, lodged in the chain somewhere. It's just kind of gross. But because some pieces, definitely all pieces need to be cleaned a little bit. But I'm always on the fence about over polishing. This was almost, it looked dirty. It just didn't look clean. It just looked a little bit too much. So it's a cuff bracelet. I'll take the measurements of the beads and put the specific details on there. And do you guys use props? I like to use props, like a hand model. Which I cannot seem to find. I can't seem to find my bracelet or my hand model. Darn it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys like my video enough to where you want to see it again. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll never come back. You'll disappear forever. Never to be heard from again. Like you're just gone. I never see your stat. You never came back. And hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully it's all good where you want to see more interesting things. I do have a lot of things. I have what is called a death pile. And it's just, I'm so backed up with jewelry that I really need to focus on this month about getting those things listed. Because I do have a lot of things. I think the final thing I'm going to post today, that I'm going to show you today, is this piece right here. This is by Simon. And you can see it's 925. See right there? I don't know if, let's see. It says 925. It seems to be gold plated. It has at least a gold tone. And it's by Simon. I hadn't heard of this designer at all, but they seem to be legitimate. And it is a big piece. And this is sterling silver. And it seems to be a piece that seems really bohemian, really flower power. It has these big flower discs. Let's say Roma, Paris. There's another one, Paris, Roma. So it's very Italian, French themed. Let's get a good feel for what this thing is like. It's if you love Paris and Milan, or Roma, which is Rome, not Milan. Those are two different places. Yeah. I should put a white background on this That way you can see what this is. Alright, we have the background. Now let's get the piece and get it displayed where we can get an accurate all right. This looks like a piece that probably came out in the 60s or 70s. I'm not sure, just by the way the style is. But of course, you always have, you know, current generations reviving things. And in jewelry, it's always been like that. Like, even have Egyptian revival. They came out in like the 20s and 30s. Egyptian type of jewelry that the women wore back then. And of course now you have bohemian types of jewelry, flowers. And then I've seen a lot of the fashion from the early 2000s, like baggy pants. I really don't deal in clothes. Just don't know too much about it. Wasn't a fashion type of dude. Like, I just wore Levi's and a t-shirt. That's it. You know? I think that's going to be it for today, and hopefully you subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think, what I can improve on. Just shit. There's stuff like that. I try not to cuss. Hopefully you come back, and thank you very much.